All right. Here we go back again on the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. I've got the Heads of Tails members here, as you can see, Mark and Jonathan. And yeah, it's strange times, but I feel for some reason I'm feeling all right. I was a bit down for the past few days in regards to how our form was, but I don't know. This FA Cup game, as much as it didn't mean much to me a couple of days ago, it all of a sudden kind of feels like, nah, you know what? It's a good feel. You know, you want to win this match, and hopefully from here on we go on and progress and start building a bit of momentum. But before we get into all of that, let's quickly go to the boys and see how they're feeling, what they've been up to. First of all, go to Jonathan. Jonathan, man, how you doing?
Yeah, as I said before we started, a bit boring in London. Literally work. That's it. If it wasn't for my son, I think I'd be going crazy. So yeah, it's good that we've got something else to focus on football. So yeah.
Yeah, nah, absolutely, man. This lockdown stuff. 2021. I just hope and pray that it gets better. Mark, my man, how's things?
Hey, pretty good. Just a bit bored, like I think everyone else, and not much going on. Waiting for the game, and yeah, all good.
Brilliant, man. Let's get straight into it, yeah, boys. Let's not dilly dally around. Next up, as we know, we're here for the FA Cup match preview against Morecambe. And before we get into deep into it, I just want to get some opening statements from you guys. I'll go with Mark this time. Mark, just some opening feelings about this particular match, man. What's sort of going through in your mind frame at the moment?
Well, positives and negatives. Thing is, I expect a win out of this one. Like, I can't even think about losing in this game. But and not even that. I mean, I'm sure we'll go to this afterwards, but I'm expecting like a 5-0 win and not one goal more, not one goal less, so
proper smashing.
Exactly. And the negatives of this is that if we lose this, oh man, I think I'm done for 2021 football wise, and it's only started. So yeah, honestly, I think we should win this. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have the same feeling as well. I mean, if we don't win this, I think it's lights out for Frank Lampard, unfortunately. But Jonathan, your initial thoughts about this particular match?
It's a tough one for Lampard to approach because people want him to play youngsters. Am I mute? Can you hear me?
Now you're good. Yeah.
You're good, yeah?
You can hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So, yeah, for me, it's a tough one for Lampard because people want him to see youth being played. He's got a lot of fringe players in the squad that needs minutes. He's already talked about his inflated squad and trying to keep everyone happy. So who do you play? First of all, if you play a fringe team, people are going to moan there's no youth. If we play a youth and they don't perform, he's going to have question marks over him. And if we don't win this game by an emphatic margin, like Mark just said, people are going to say, well, how did you not beat a League Two team who haven't played since the 26th of December, 5-6-0 with the talent that you've got in your squad? So unless he wins by 5-6 goals, no one is, he's going to have question marks over him. It's a lose-lose for him. So I really struggle to find how we can get a good outcome unless, as I said, we get a thumping win. So I was there a few years ago, or quite a few years ago now, where we were 2-0 up against Bradford and we lost 4-2. Me and my dad were just sitting there thinking, what is going on? And that's the last time I think we were humbled in a cup like this. I think it's like 25 or 26 third round ties we've won in a row in the FA Cup. So should be another one. But yeah, as I say, it's unless we get a resounding win, I think there's still going to be question marks over Lampard. Obviously, we've got Fulham coming up. So he just needs 2 big wins, comfortable wins, and a nice style of play.
Yeah, look, I was sort of saying the same thing over the last few days that I've done my live streams and whatnot. I've been saying that this has got to be, if this goes to extra time by any chance and we're in the penalties, I think expect a phone call from Roman Abramovich, Frank Lampard, because like as you boys said, we have to win this big, not a 1-0 victory, scrappy 1-0, fighting for it. it's got to be a big win. I know we're going to play some youth as well, which we'll get into in terms of the press conference, what Frank Lampard said and our reactions off the back of that. But yeah, whatever the case is, I don't really care. It's got to be a big win, as you boys said, 4-5-0 minimum, and a good style of football as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm with you boys on this as well. But yeah, boys, let's now talk about the press conference before we get into our lineups and whatnot. Let's talk about the first few bits, I believe, that Frank Lampard was talking about. I think he was saying who's available, who's not. I think some of the notable ones that are out is Andres Christensen, Kante, Reece James. I think that's about it. Now, I want to quickly I'll go to Jonathan this time. The whole Andreas Christensen issue, I know we kind of sort of gave it to him in social media. Even John Terry gave it to him off the back of that Jack Grealish incident against Aston Villa that led to a goal. But it seems like it was an injury. Now, I don't know. It didn't look like a massive impact, that particular, incident with Jack Grealish. Your thoughts about the whole situation, man?
Yeah, I didn't slate him too much on social media. I said, look, the way he's gone down, the way he was, sucked into the ball. Jack Grealish is a great player, but it didn't look great that he was down and he didn't get up. Obviously, he's injured now, but my main focus was, okay, forget the fact that he's down, because we've still got a few phases of play until the ball goes into the back of the net. So whilst it was, a bit soft the way he went down, the fact that there was no pressure on the cross, absolutely none whatsoever. I think it was Pulisic and Chilwell, no pressure on the cross. And then the marking, people were talking about Kante, being the DM. He wasn't the DM in that game. It was Jorginho. So he's probably the guy that should slot in with a centre-back being, further up the pitch. So why has Jorginho not picked up one of the men? Why is Kante not running back a little bit harder on El Ghazi? And El Ghazi, that's Azpilicueta's man. So why is Azpilicueta coming across? Yeah. It's because Jorginho wasn't covering. And in my opinion, I got a few people saying, why are you blaming Jorginho? But if you're a DM, generally the furthest, or the furthest one back other than the centre-backs, he has to slot in, pick up a man, or at least make a bit of an effort. Azpilicueta has to have the left winger, which is El Ghazi. I know Kante, as I said, I've mentioned other players, but it was those 3 or 4 players, especially when, we allow a crossing like that. And Mendy from 5-6 yards out, how's he going to save that? So it's other bits of the play that we didn't deal with properly as a team. As much as, everyone was annoyed at Christensen, I was more focusing on, okay, that's happened. How do we react to it? And we didn't react to it quick enough. So, yeah, it's disappointing he's injured. I think it's good that he's only out for a few games, because it means tomorrow we should go on loan. We'll get onto that probably. But yeah, I think he was unfairly treated, and I think a lot of people are backtracking now.
No, absolutely. It's a good segue. Let's talk about the whole Tomori thing. I'll go to Mark. Nice question. First of all, guys, thank you for everyone that's joining and whoever is going to watch later down the track. Do appreciate all the love you've been giving me in recent time, and the boys as well, to be honest. I've been getting some really, really good feedback, so that's great. So yeah, keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming, and we're going to be talking about all your questions throughout this episode. First of all, Connacht and Tani has put in a very, very good question. We all know Connacht from social media, football Twitter. Do you think Fikayo Tomori will finally get a start tomorrow since Christensen is injured? Mark, your thoughts?
Yes, I think so. He actually is in my predicted 11 for later. But yeah, I do expect Tomori to play. I think it's only fair for the lad to play at least one game, and I think he hasn't done that bad when he's played. To be honest, I actually thought, especially last season, I thought that Kurt Zuma and Tomori together were our best CB's partnership. So yeah, I would love to see Tomori play at least one game. Especially if he's going to leave on loan, then before he leaves, I would like to see him at least play one game.
I personally, Mark, I don't think he's going to play because he's so heavily rumoured to go to Leeds or loan to Newcastle. I think the Leeds one, they want a permanent deal. I've said it in Matisse's show a couple of days ago that I want him to go as well now. Like his 5th choice CB for us, which I find it a bit of a disrespect to his talent and his cause. Because I feel Rudiger, Christensen, they never warranted a place last season. At least Tomori put on some performances. I know Rudiger probably had some pretty decent ones right at the end of this season, But for Tomori not to be at least considered as a third or even the fourth, to be fifth I was like, wow, that's a bit too much. Should have probably left for West Ham from the start of this season. But I think the Leeds one is very, very imminent. That's what I'm sort of hearing with all the credible sources that's flying around. I'm sure you probably know more. And that's probably the reason why I feel like, well, if this guy's going on loan, I don't know if you'd want to risk him getting injured. And then, I know Christensen is injured, but I think it might be Rudiger's definitely going to come in. That's for sure. And then it won't be Thiago Silva. It'll probably be Zuma with Rudiger because Christensen's injured. I think Tomori, he really needs to start thinking about himself now. I think he needs to just go, let me just forget the whole Chelsea journey for the time being, and let's sort my career out. And I can always come back. Do you know what I mean? If it's a loan, you can always come back. So let's hold that thought. I know you wanted Tomori to start, and a lot of people have been saying Tomori as well, but I personally think that may not be the case. But let's get back into the whole press conference thing. Obviously, Christensen's one of them. Kante is injured as well, as I said, and Reece James. Hopefully these guys, Frank Lampard has said that they should be ready for the Fulham match. All of these are sort of niggling injuries, and hopefully they're back. Now, let's get back into the press conference where Frank Lampard was talking about that there's quite a few academy players that are taking part in this particular preparation. Jonathan, 5 players. We've got some names here. Tinos, both the Tinos, Angerine and Livramento, and Jude Soonsup-Bell. I hope I pronounced that right. I haven't heard too much about him. Lewis Bate and Henry Lawrence. Jonathan, do you want to... I mean, obviously, this is a great opportunity for these boys to come in and train with the first team. It's great, I suppose, confidence booster for them. But at the same time, I think it's great for the first team as well, players to get that energy, that burst of energy that might be sort of lacking in the month of December. Do you expect any of these youngsters to feature in this particular match against Morecambe?
I think certainly 1 or 2 from the start, but I don't expect as many as some people are saying. I think Lampard, the way he was talking about his big squad, he's going to have, as I said earlier, a decent side out of fringe players. So I think 1 or 2 will start. I think obviously we'll go into that, but I think that's why it's so important that we start quickly, we get a few goals, and it's wrapped up in the first half, because then it allows for a few of these guys to come on in the second half. And with the FA Cup having 5 subs, it means all 5 can play at some point, even if they don't start. So that's why, as I said, it's important. We put on a performance. We put this game to bed. We put any doubt, of the fact that we could have a banana slip here. So yeah, I think hopefully that they will play. A lot of fans and will want them to play. I think Lampard's got them in and around the squad, which is good. And he's talked about the intensity going up and the competitiveness, which is good. That's what young players bring. I said it a few games ago when I think we should have started some of them or brought them in earlier. The lack of fear and the fact that they want to impress. All of them are putting pictures of themselves up in training on social media because they want to be there. They want to play for Chelsea right now and they want to impress. So why not give them an opportunity against Morecambe? And then, let's see what happens. I mean, we brought Lamptey in from absolutely nowhere against Arsenal when he's got a decent move to Brighton. I'm not saying, these players are going to come in and get moves, but it just shows that, we do have quality in the academy, and when given a chance, they've shown. Last season, we used quite a few academy boys, and they're still all around the squad. So let's have a look. The worst that can happen is they don't perform. But as I said, as long as we're winning the game in the first half anyway, there's nothing to lose. So give them a chance. Yeah,
me too. I would actually have Angerine for me. I know we're going to talk about the formation and lineup soon. Angerine for me is one who should get an opportunity. He got that opportunity in the Champions League. I feel like he's definitely in line for it. And obviously there's talks about Livramento or Lawrence being on the right side, but I don't know how much that might be a bit of a go because Azpilicueta for me should probably start in the right-hand side in the right back position. And perhaps maybe Lewis Bate might get an opportunity. But I think for sure Angerine has to get the chance. Mark, your thoughts, who would you want to see out of the youngsters, the 5 that I mentioned, Angerine, Livramento, Jude, Lewis Bate, and Henry Lawrence? I mean, who are you sort of looking forward to get some minutes here?
Yeah, especially Livramento, but I think as a substitute, and Tino Angerine, I would actually start him, to be honest. last time I saw him play, I thought he was really good, and I just think he needs minutes. And as Jonathan said, the fact that Frank is at the club and there's so many academy products right now in the current squad, I think it's a great opportunity for these kids to try and do their best, especially in a time like now where barely no one is performing. So I think it's a good opportunity for the kids to come up and give a bit of competition. So I do expect that any of the kids that play, I think they're going to have a good game. Might be a bit nervous at the start, but I think they'll have a good performance too. And I think it's a good move to actually play them in a match like this one. So I think it's all positive.
Yeah, same, man. I think it'll be a good kick up some of the senior players' backside as well. All these new players, you guys know very well. Like whenever you get this, in the work environment, and a really youngster comes in and shows off their, energy and whatnot, you start thinking, hey, I gotta get going as well. So similarly, hopefully that should be the case with this situation. Especially the likes of Angerine and Lewis Bate and probably Livramento. They can come in and really rejuvenate the training sessions a little bit and bring that freshness out. And I hope that this trick comes into play for Frank Lampard. But as you boys have said, obviously some of these players will feature. Nice comment here from Amir. Andrew might start as he did against Krasnodar, but I'm sure all of them won't start, maybe off the bench, though, as we can make 5 subs. Yeah, that's a very good point, Amir. 5 subs is a big factor, which more sort of tells us that some of these players will definitely get an opportunity. Andrew, I think, seems like quite a big call for all of us that he's probably going to start. Boys, I want to now talk about the last part of this press conference, which was quite interesting for me. Frank Lampard talks about how he's, I don't know if I might be quoting this incorrectly, but I know there's some false quotes that's going around, but I think he somewhat said that he's, even though with all the bad situation that's going on at the moment, like he's enjoying the challenge and he's, relishing it at the moment. But he then also talks about how it's impossible to keep everyone happy. Like he didn't hide the fact that, lately there's been rumors, right? That, straight off the bat of the Man City game, there was that article from The Athletic, and it stated that some of the senior players that are not getting the games have been a bit disgruntled about recent situation. From what I gathered from that press conference, Frank didn't deny that. I think there has been some issues internally from the players that are not getting the minutes. We all know who they are, Alonso's and, who else is there, Kepa and maybe Jorginho as well, who's not getting that many minutes. And a few other players as well who are not seeing those minutes, right? Emerson. Jonathan, your thoughts, this, for him not to sort of deny that, this must be a very difficult time for him as well, where results are not going his way. Players are now giving him the pressure as well. As much as he's saying that he's relishing the situation, management is totally different, right, to what it used to be when he was a player.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a smaller squad last season. He had sort of 14, 15 core players that he had. Obviously, we've made a lot of signings, and it is going to be difficult second season because we're in a phase where we've brought some players in, but we want to ship some out, and we're caught because we can't ship them out yet. So it's going to take, a couple of transfer windows to sort that, and it is uncomfortable for a manager, I'm sure, because we all saw the Tottenham documentary where Mourinho had some awkward conversations. It isn't easy to keep 22, 23 players happy. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah. And obviously, when you have bad form and when you're an inexperienced manager and the press comes after you like they have after Lampard, it is going to be tough. And you've got players like Emerson, Jorginho, Rudiger who start for their countries.
Yeah,
they need minutes.
Tomori as well, probably.
Yeah, I don't think Jorginho's the sort of guy that's going to kick up a fuss. I think he's a team player. But, I mean, you're going to be disgruntled if you want to play in the Euros. And all 3 of them really need to play. Otherwise, they're not going to be in the squad. And everyone wants to play for their country in a major competition. So it is going to be hard. But I think Lampard could have helped himself and maybe switched it up a little bit and it just give some minutes off the bench a bit more as well. Because, there were some times when we were winning in games, we could have brought some fringe players on. There were some dead games, like a few in the Champions League, where we did rotate a little bit. But he said he's going to play players on form, and some players, like the fringe players, have come in and done quite well, and he hasn't then played them. Like Hudson-Odoi, I'd be knocking on his door saying, I'm a fringe player, and every time I come in, pretty much, okay, he's building back up from injury, but every time he's played, he's had some intent, and he actually looks like he's going to take on a play, and he's going to put a ball in the box, or he's going to get on the end of a cross. Whereas other players, it just, it's not quite clicking. So yeah, I would be a bit disgruntled, but as I say, it is a challenge as a manager. And Lampard said, I could be just taking a job on the telly and I could, analyse after the fact. Very true. I completely get that. It's very easy. Hindsight is a great thing because it's easy for us to criticise a manager, as I have done, as everyone has done with Lampard and other managers, and said, oh, you should have done this. In that moment in time, it's very difficult. So, yeah, this is a chance, this game, to play some fringe players to see what they're made of, to play some youngsters. And if they perform, if I was Lampard, to keep a bit of squad harmony, we've got Fulham, who we should win against. If we don't win against, again, it's worrying. And if a few of these fringe players play well, you play them in the Fulham game. That's as simple as that. And that is what's going to show the squad risk reward. If you play well, I will play you. And some of the first team players, like you said earlier, need a kick up the backside. And this is the perfect game, next couple of games, to show the squad that if you play well, you're going to play. Because he's stuck to that in the first season, and he's really deviated away from that, which I think has caused him problems. So yeah, I just hope that, he just has a bit of a smile on his face. He just looks a bit, I know everything's tough at the moment. He just looks a bit grumpy, a bit, down. He just needs
I feel that as well. I felt that.
Yeah. No, I read a comment about the tracksuits need to come back. When he had the tracksuit on, he looked game ready. He changed it up. So I think maybe just a change of mindset, freshen it up. I'm positive, but obviously the next couple of games I'm not going to read too much into because they're must win and should win.
Yeah. No, man, I'm with you as well. Like the press conference, it felt like, this guy's under pressure. He's under pressure. You can see that it's boiling point right now, right? Mark, how important is it? It was important in the summer window to get rid of some of the fringe players, right? The ones that were never going to get. Got 5 CBs, like 3 left backs. We just got too many players, right? How important is it probably in this window to get rid of some of these players on loans or a permanent deal so that Frank actually can get some harmony back to a certain degree? Because 100% these players are obviously going to complain if they're not getting any game time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important, and as well, it's the type of environment that the other players must feel as well. I mean, although there's some fringe players that they might not play and they might not be happy about it, but I'm sure that everyone in the dressing room are really good friends, and I don't know how that can affect maybe players who are really playing or other players who are playing but would like to have more minutes, So I think it's really tough. I can't really say nothing wrong about Frank in this aspect because I think any of us would have that same problem if we had to deal with.
The only thing I could say, Mark, the only thing I could say, sorry to interrupt there, man, is that I wish he had that hardline approach as Sarri in this regards, where Sarri said to Drinkwater, you know what? You're not part of my plan. Like, find a club or you're not going to get a game. I just wish he did that with some of these players. Like, I know Frank's very much of a believer that if you train hard enough, then you're always an opportunity. But I think with a squad this big, how many of them could train bad? Like, seriously, these are professional players. Like, they're not going to train bad, right? They're going to go out there and train well. So then off the back of that, what you said, that if you train well, you're going to get the opportunity. That's where I feel like if he just was a bit hard and just said, you know what, X, Y, Z, find yourself a club. You're not going to get an opportunity for us. Like, would you like to see that, or do you sort of like the way he's controlling it?
If I'm honest, that's not really my style. I do understand what you say, and I actually kind of agree too. But I do think that can be a bit more aggressive on players, and it's a really slim line where it can go really well or it can go really bad if you go like that. So
Yeah.
because what I'm telling you, and especially this kind of players which are really young, even if you talk like about, I don't know, Jorginho, for example, he's a young man, honestly. Maybe not young for football, but he's a young man. And
Yeah.
the type of egos that these people have is too high, you know? And it doesn't matter if you're Frank Lampard, Zinedine Zidane, or Pelé. If depend what you say and to who you say it, you can actually break a dressing room like that. That's my opinion.
True.
So that's not my style, to be honest.
No, it's a good point, Mark, because we saw in Sarri's season, Cahill had some smart words to say about Sarri. Cesc Fabregas, when he left, he had some digging points about, oh, he always wants to play his son.
Yeah, and
you know,
Rob
that's why
Green
he
as
had.
well.
Yeah. There's a lot of, so it could cause a bit of a disharmony in the team, but I just feel like you can't make people happy. You can't make everyone happy, and
That's
I
true.
feel you'd rather be straight and go, you're not in because you're not part of my plan. That way, I feel like players may actually respect you more, as opposed to just dangling something that, hey, if you work hard enough, here's the carrot, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the carrot is never going to be yours because he knows in the back of his mind that he never might get the chance. But all right, boys, let's move on to our formation and lineups. I think that's more. That's where we're going to have a lot of fun, guys. The people that have joined in, please provide your formation lineups in the comments. We'll share that as well. We'll go through the lineups. As I said, in this particular match, the build-up, it's not like the other matches where it's if it was Fulham or Leicester, there'd be a lot more juicy stuff. It's really an FA Cup game against a League Two team, Morecambe. They're fifth in the table. We really should be winning. So there's not much to put any sauce around this particular build-up. Hence, we're going to go straight into the formation and lineups. Let's do that right away. We'll go with Jonathan, man. Jonathan, as you can see the board here. I don't know. Should I make it a bit more larger? Maybe a bit more larger. Jonathan, what formation, man? Let's start with the formation, and we'll build your team up, and we'll see how everyone reacts to that.
Yeah, that is the one that I went with, just because I think it would be nice to try a different formation. And also there's one player that I want to see in a certain role. So that's why I've kind of built it around. Do you want me to go through what I would think? So
yeah. Give me the players. We'll build it up.
Yeah, from goalkeeper, a lot of talk about Kepa. I mean, Lampard did have a little bit of a mention of him, but I don't see the point in playing Kepa. We know he's going to leave. Caballero is happy to be a third choice. Mendy, exactly. He needs a clean sheet. Goalkeepers don't need too much of a rest. Play him. Left back, I think, picks itself. Emerson, he needs minutes, and I'm pretty sure he will play. And then right back, we touched on it earlier. No, definitely not. He needs a rest. And yeah, Azpilicueta at right back, I think there's a lot of talk about Lawrence Livramento. I get that, but for a side that's going to be a little bit changed, someone with a bit of experience coming in, and marshalling the defence, someone like Azpilicueta. Rudiger. Definitely, we all agree on that. There's no discussion about that. But this one, Kurt Zouma, obviously Christensen out, Tomori. I get Mark's points. I get a lot of fans' points that want Tomori, but as he's going on loan, clearly not in favour with Lampard. Is it going to help by playing him? Probably not. And we know Silva needs a rest. So, my heart wants Tomori.
So far, this is my back as well.
Yeah, heart wants Tomori, but head just feels like I'm trying to predict what Lampard will do. Those two players in the pivot, I've said it many times and I'll repeat myself again. Billy Gilmour needs a chance in this Chelsea side. If he plays well in the next couple of games, there's no reason why he shouldn't continue. Again, play players on form. And again, someone that needs some minutes, Jorginho, can play in a pivot, we know, not always against a high pressing team. But in this game,
the same sort of players, Jonathan?
Yeah, I agree, but I just think in this sort of game where they're both quite good on the ball when they have some time, and they should have time on the ball, and it should be a game where if Jorginho doesn't start, then there is, in my opinion, going to be problems from him. So, Gilmour's got to start, and Bate can come on for Jorginho second half. That's the sub I would make. Tino Anjorin, left wing, we've already discussed that. That's the guy that has to play of the kind of crop of youngsters. So, yeah, Anjorin at left wing. And that's the reason I've done a formation. Kai Havertz needs goals, needs assists, hasn't started in over a month. and that's the guy I would play there. And on the right wing, I would play Hudson-Odoi. He showed his quality of recent weeks, and today or tomorrow, sorry, is another chance for him to put his name in lights. And up front, I changed this over the week. Don't see the point in starting Giroud. Abraham would be my second choice because I think Timo Werner needs goals. No, Timo Werner. As much as I was going to say Tammy, it was up with Tammy, but then I think Werner needs goals. It's a good chance to see what he can do in this role. I say I get why people want Abraham, but the guy needs goals, Werner. The only thing that is going to help his confidence is goals, and this is a game and the next game where he should be able to score goals. So that's the lineup that I would go with.
This is very similar to my lineup as well, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, this is Jonathan's lineup. My only change here is I would actually not go with Werner. I know Jonathan has put up a really strong argument for Werner to get some confidence here, get some goals. But for me, get your confidence in the Premier League game, mate. Like, that's what you've been brought into. You haven't been brought in to get confidence in FA Cup against Morecambe. Like, that's my point. Yeah. No point in showing me that you're going to score a hat-trick against Morecambe. That means nothing to me. You do your job against Fulham, Leicester, and Wolves. That's where you've been brought into. I actually want to give Tammy Abraham a chance here. So just quickly before we go to marks, because this is pretty much what I would go with, actually. The only difference is my team would be Tammy. Can I change this? Yeah. There you go. So, my team
I
would
do get that.
Yeah. So back five, just like Jonathan, Mendy, Emerson, Rudy, Zuma, Azpilicueta. I think we've all said that. Why not Tomori and Christensen's injured. Gilmore, this is where I've got a bit of an issue. Gilmore, definitely. Jorginho, I get your point as well, Jonathan, and I'll probably start him as well. I was sort of thinking maybe Kovacic, but I don't know. He's just been in such foul form at the moment. And how could you reward that? You have to give Jorginho time here. So that's why I'd probably stick with that. And 100% Angerine Havertz definitely as a 10 because we probably need to change something up from recent situation, how the 4-3-3 is not working. So perhaps start giving Havertz that opportunity to play in that 4-2-3-1 as the number 10. That's probably his most lethal position. I know he can play many positions. We'll all agree with that. But I think Havertz for us, for me for sure, is that 10 is his big position. I think him sort of occupying these sort of areas would be very important. So, Callum Hudson-Odoi with the form, he definitely starts. And Tammy Abraham, I think with the link up with Havertz and Callum Hudson-Odoi, hopefully whipping in those crosses, and Angerine, being the academy player, hopefully, there'll be a lot of buzz for Tammy for us in this particular lineup. So, that's my lineup. Mark, let's quickly go to yours. Your thoughts, man. You want to start from the back? Mendy starts for you? Or?
It's really similar to mine as well, but I would change Mendy for Kepa. I think that, Kepa has been warming the bench too long, and I think we really need to bring him out and see if we can actually get someone who wants him on loan or buy him in the best of in the best of opportunities. But I think Kepa should start this game. The worst thing that can happen is that we don't get a clean sheet, but imagine that he has a great game and suddenly someone's interested in him. So I would go for Kepa.
To be honest, we haven't been getting clean sheets lately anyway. So
no, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Absolutely. Emerson left back, really good too. I kind of missed Tomori, so I would change Zuma for Tomori, and I would actually like to have a full fit Zuma for Fulham. So I would go for Tomori there. Azpilicueta is my right back choice as well, although I would put Livramento as a substitute in the second half probably. The midfield of Billy and Jorginho, I absolutely agree with that. So that would be my choice too. Angerine and Cho on the wings, that's my choice as well. I think Havertz as number 10 is what we all want to see. And even though Havertz has said that he can play in any position when it comes to attack, but I think this is like his real position, although that's what I feel. So I really want to see Havertz as a number 10 and not a winger. And up front, I kind of like your choice with Tammy up there. I think there's a big difference between Werner and Havertz. I think that Havertz still is trying to adapt, where I think we've seen a really good form of Timo Werner a few months ago, but suddenly I think it's a confidence thing. So I wouldn't put him up here. I think I would go for Giroud, if I'm honest. I think Giroud deserves a start, even though it's an FA Cup, it's against a League Two team. But, I feel this is a good game for Giroud and maybe Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham. I do think that Giroud would score on this game, so that would put a bit more of pressure on them for starting options for next Premier League games. So I think that Tammy and Werner really need to feel that pressure, and if they're fully fit, then there's no excuses for them to perform well. So that would be my starting 11 for the FA Cup.
Giroud definitely should have a ball against Morecambe, to be honest. And with that lineup, Angerin, Havertz, and Cho, he should get that service as well. I think all of us have put on a very, very strong lineup, guys. Even with the changes we've made, and even with the youngsters. Look, let's all be honest. I think besides Angerin, we really can't see any other youngsters sort of starting, but they should probably feature off the bench. Couple of comments here. Let's just quickly get to that.
There are a few good comments.
Has Christensen? Actually, hold on. Yeah, there's actually quite a few. I think let's go with here. Sean, Chelsea FC. I don't think tomorrow will start. I think he fell out with Lampard. We've kind of covered that. Data, Angerin and Gilmore should both start. We've all predicted that as well. And hopefully we'll see Lawrence, Livramento, Bate, and Sonsa Bell too. Yep, I think 100% agree with that. This is a good one, Sean. Mason Mount will start. I honestly don't think so. I think he'll get the break here, and he'll definitely feature against Fulham. DJ Sav J17. How's Christensen being in the team of tomorrow is beyond me. Probably is a bit beyond me as well. I think that's a bit of a slap in the face for tomorrow. We've kind of covered that as well. That
can
Tomori. Yeah, go on, man. Go on. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you, Miss. But this actually is quite interesting because, us three, we were speaking last night, and I do have some little news on Christensen. Yeah, and it's the fact, I've been told that with Christensen, the thing is that it's not actually that Lampard praises him more than Tomori. It's a fact that the club think that he could turn into a world-class CB, especially if he leaves to another club. So what the club doesn't want is to sell Christensen and not get the profit that they think they could get of his sell if they sell him. So it's a thing that Lampard hasn't got much to do here, to be honest. It's something that...
So this is the club sort of thinking that his potential... So I'm thinking the scouts are probably saying this, the senior scouts and whatnot are probably saying that he's got potential to be a great CB. I don't know, man. Jonathan, what's your thoughts, man? Like, I can't see this guy. I mean, we've seen enough of him to sort of say that I don't think he's going to make it in the Premier League, in the top echelons in the Premier League of the CBs.
No, I don't. I get, he has got sort of strong points. He is a good centre-back, but for what he needs in this or what we need in this Chelsea team in the Premier League, he doesn't always, step up to the mark when needed. And there are certain situations where you're not comfortable with him. We've seen him this season with that red card in the Liverpool game as being one major issue for him. But yeah, I think he's a good centre back. I think he'd do well elsewhere. So I get what Chelsea is saying. But if I'm Frank Lampard, I'm sorry. I pick the players. I do what I want. If you think he's going to be a good player, then you negotiate a good deal and you sell him elsewhere. Because in my opinion, Tomori needs to go on loan. I'll deal with him next season. Christensen and Rudiger should both be sold. If we can't sell him, then you keep him and you play him just as reserves. And yeah, I say if I'm the manager and I'm picking the players, don't care what you. I know you have to play by the board, but You know, just because you think, you know, they're so worried about him bringing another De Bruyne, Lukaku, etc. If you're so worried about that, you know, that's not my issue. Because every time he puts a Chelsea shirt on, he hasn't really stepped up to the mark. So it's all good about potential, but you know, if you're not putting the minutes in, or you're not playing well every time you play, it's a detriment to the squad. So I don't really get that.
Yeah. And we can't have this mentality that, oh, he's going to be another KTB or he's going to be another Salah. It's very hard to judge that. Like, you're going to miss a few, you're going to get a few. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we've got a few good ones as well, like that we've kept, and we've had they've had a great career with us. So it's not like it's all gone belly up for us. Like, you're going to miss a few. Obviously, we've missed some massive ones with KDB and Salah, but you know, it's very hard.
Let a lot of players go that have not made anywhere near the level of Chelsea. Do you know how many players we've let in the last 10 years? You know, I was just about to say Solanke. He was supposed to be the next big thing. What's he doing right now? He's scoring goals in the Championship.
Charlie Masunda, you know, Van Ginkel. The name goes on and on. Yeah, Boga. I think Boga is going to be.
You have to make judgment calls, and if you've made the best call that you possibly could, I can't complain. You know, the way we let De Bruyne and Lukaku go and Salah go, that was a bit of Mourinho, a bit of the board. No one could have seen Salah go to this level. I'm sorry, no one saw that. I certainly didn't see it. De Bruyne, you could see there was a player. You could see there was a player in De Bruyne. I think Chelsea mishandled that. Mourinho mishandled that.
De Bruyne probably,
Yeah, I mean, Lukaku, if it wasn't for Conte, we probably would have, or you know, we should have had him instead of Morata. He would have come back at Chelsea, so no one would have complained. I mean, we let Matic go and bought him back for a big sum. So these things happen. It's judgment calls. It's very hard for us as fans because we don't see them train. So you have to trust.
Yeah, and this feeling of the club towards Andreas Christensen is nothing new. This happened since we scouted him. And I don't know if you guys know, but do you guys know who scouted Andreas Christensen?
Who was it?
John Terry. And and John Terry called Andreas Christensen's father at the phone. Wow. And he actually spoke with Andreas Christensen as a kid and told him, I want you at Chelsea. You're going to be like the next big thing. And I think that the club still has this idea since. So, yeah, let's see how that goes out. But
he's got all the technique to be. It's his physicality at times, which is a massive issue. He gets injured. He gets bundled over by other players. And the lapse of concentration, like every now and then, he's.
What I mean about the Liverpool game, I mean, he can intercept well, but it's the lack of concentration. It's when you're a centre back, you've got to know what you're doing in terms of marking, in terms of players' movement, and sometimes he just doesn't. He gets caught out, and as I say, physically, he's just not got it cut out. But maybe next to Thiago Silva, if he had 5-6 games, we seal the real deal. But he's not getting that under Lampard, so we can't blame him as much because he does come in. It's very hard to play 1 game, 5 games off, 1 game, 5 games off. So again, Lampard's got to take a bit of the stick as well, I guess. But it's hard.
As a CB, it's not like a centre forward where, you know, if you miss one, I'm going to get another chance. With the CB, if you miss one, that could be a goal. Yeah. So the thing is far more magnified. And this is where, to be an elite centre back, like, you know, the likes of Maldini, you know, Nesta, you know, that's all these big names in world football. Yeah, it takes immense concentration. Like even Thiago Silva, to be honest, like, it takes immense concentration. Let's take some quick, few more comments over here. This is a really interesting one, boys. We have not talked about this. Sean, Chelsea FC again. Ziyech needs game fitness. Now, my thoughts around this is I think Frank might actually start this guy because he needs that fitness. And I know we're all going to say that, he probably needs to feature against Fulham. But yeah, just quickly, boys, your thoughts around this whole thing. Mark, Ziyech needs fitness, game fitness. Your thoughts?
That's a really good comment from Sean. And yeah, he really needs fitness. The thing is that I wouldn't start him. What I would do maybe is bring him on, I don't know,
as one of the 5 subs.
Or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't risk myself to start him and then he gets injured again and he's missing for Fulham. So I would play him for a few minutes. Maybe, I don't know, like 20 minutes, something like that, 20, 25 minutes. Sure. But I wouldn't play him more than that. So basically, you can't start him, play him for 20, 25 minutes and bring him off.
And then sub him off.
So that's what I would do, yeah.
Jonathan, man?
Yeah, I want to see Andrew and I want to see Hudson-Odoi. So sorry, mate. You got to have a bit of a sub appearance and then full steam ahead for Fulham.
No, fair point. Yeah, I don't think I don't know, man. Frank Lampard sometimes does some crazy stuff. So don't get surprised if he starts. That's the thing. That's the only thing I'm going to say. But I think he should feature off the bench for some minutes, right? I think we can all agree with that in terms of fitness. Just last comment here from Baggy. Baggy, thanks for joining, my man. Everyone, please follow Baggy and subscribe to his channel. He's a very good YouTube contact maker as well. So please get in on that. Werner not to start. This would be a good confidence booster. I think Jonathan's the only one that's starting Werner. Baggy, if you go back into our video on this one and just check through, Jonathan has backed Werner to get 7 goals this particular match. So to get his confidence back. But myself,
would you be happy with 7? Would you be happy with 7, or is 8 kind of the limit?
I don't know.
Be happy to
it's a sackable offence if he doesn't get 7. But yeah, look, I completely get what you mean, Jonathan, in terms of this is a perfect match for Werner. I mean, but you know what? Here's the catch-22 though, Jonathan. If he doesn't score in this match, he needs to, if he's in social media, which I know he is, he needs to delete it and deactivate it, just go away for a little bit. Because, where do you go from not scoring against Morecambe? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a hard place to hide if you're not getting service against Morecambe.
Penalty? We just need someone to fall over in the box, guys. If we have 5 players all willing to take yellow cards, go down, one of them dives will be given. Penalty. Scores that, we're all good. That's the solution.
As Mourinho.
Exactly.
He is too good. Mourinho is too good, man. What he did over there. Man, unbelievable having to dig at Pogba. But guys, honestly, it's been a pleasure, man. As I said, boys, there's not much really juicy to talk about this particular tie. Only the fact that we should really go out there and pump Morecambe. And if we don't, I think Roman Abramovich is going to have his speed dial on very, very quick. But just before we go, boys, some realistic prediction. I know we've been joking around 7-0, 8-0 and all of that. But Mark, just quickly, man, your score prediction on this.
My score prediction, against, no disrespect, but I really feel like even with the kids from the academy, we should be winning this like 5-0, honestly.
This is League 2 team. This is League 2 team. Like, they're not League 1. They're not Championship either. This is League 2.
Exactly. So I think we should win 5-0 and playing good football. That's my feeling. And if not, I won't be happy even if we win. So I really hope for that.
Jonathan, man, thoughts?
They've scored in their last 16, 17 games. I know it's in League 2. But
they're
a superb attacking team in their league. I mean, we've got to give respect. I mean, a couple of players, Adam Phillips, Mendes Gomez, one's a goal scorer, one, Phillips is a good creator. So watch out for them. We haven't really talked about Morecambe because, as Miz said,
you talked about that in your video. I saw that earlier this morning.
I did, yeah. I mean, I'd say we haven't got onto them because we really shouldn't be worrying about them. It's not we don't need to do tactical analysis on the team, but I just think we have to be wary because if we have a lapse of concentration, and let's say they score an early goal, that's going to cause problems for us, bearing in mind our recent form and our confidence level. So we can't be sloppy and lose our concentration. We've got a
local Morecambe guy over here. Kudos, J4 official Morecambe.
See, look, I've just bigged you up. I've just bigged you up. I've just said you scored. Lampard needs to pick the right players, and his next comment is a good one as well.
Let's quickly read this one. I don't know how to say this, but I can see an upset. Yes, I'm a Chelsea fan, but I'm also a local Morecambe fan. Let's go through statistics. Honestly, J4, just quickly before I go to the second one, I actually had Eunice yesterday in my channel. I was saying that if Morecambe has watched our game in recent times and figured out our issues where we've got massive issues in midfield, massive issues in lines in between, defense, midfield, forward. We don't press properly either. If these guys have watched all these and they stay as compact as possible and hit us on the counter if they can, we can be got. Like, we really can be got here. So Completely understand what you're saying. Let's read the second one. This is interesting. I like how we've got a local Morecambe resident here, even though Chelsea fan, but currently Morecambe's form in the last 6 games would have them first in EFL League 2. Chelsea would be 17th based on their last 6. Oh, I don't find that a great way to compare between Premier League and League 2, but I get your point, J4. Lampard needs to pick the right players and different tactics, 100%. Yeah, man. As just so everyone knows, guys, please check out Jonathan's video as well, which I'll put down in the description. He talks about this, how Morecambe, their form, especially in December, and their main players, so they're not, we shouldn't be disrespecting them, but at the same time, it's a Premier League club versus a League 2 club. I get that. Like, no, don't disrespect. But you've got to be ruthless to kill them off as well. Final comment before we end this. This is quite exciting. I'm liking this. Lampard needs to pick the right players and different tactics. Derek Adams is a very smart manager and has more tactical knowledge than Lampard. We need to change things up even to beat a League 2 side.
Look at the next one. There you go. Still 5-1 Chelsea, yeah? No, I appreciate I get his comments, and that's what I'm saying. We need to make sure we start quick and we are winning at halftime 2-3-0, because if we're not, and they're still in the game with a sniff, all the stars have to align. Every Morecambe player has to be incredible. Every Chelsea player has to be pretty poor for them to get an upset. But we just have to be cautious, because, as I said, one little goal, if they get any sort of goal, especially if they score first, we are going to have our head down, and that's a real test for Lampard. So, make sure there's no banana slip. Make sure we concentrate. But, I'm going to say 4-0 Chelsea, but I wouldn't be surprised if they scored, just because, But I don't want to be too fussy. It is, it's going to be interesting. But I say it's a lose for Lampard. We have to absolutely smash them and look incredible for anyone to give them any credit.
You've said this in your video, the lose-lose situation, and it's people need to understand what you're saying. I think it's quite important. And
if you win 7-0, wow, you beat Morecambe 7-0. If you beat them 2-1, you only just beat them 2-1, a League 2 side. And if you lose, as I said, he may as well just pack his bags and go to Christine to Dubai on holiday, because nothing coming back from there, is there?
No, if he loses, it's over. Eunice said the same thing yesterday, that if Morecambe can stay focused and concentrated for the whole 90 minutes, and that's going to be the issue, because let's face it, they wouldn't be able to stay concentrated for the whole 90 minutes against our quality that we have. But if they somehow do, I really hope they don't. Honestly, I hope that we go out there and really clean them up. And look forward to the Fulham game, which is not going to be easy, but that's for another day. We'll do a full review on that. But guys, thank you heaps for joining. We had a really good time here. I had a good time. Hopefully the boys had a good time. Just before we go, Jonathan and Mark, first with Jonathan, what do you got plans, boys, for the weekend? Anything else, or just relax?
Not too much. It's my missus' birthday tomorrow, so I'll be in and out of the game. But
happy birthday!
Not much we can do.
Mrs. Manhandled.
Missus, I like that. But there's not much we can do. I say just try and go out for a little walk. But I'd say just looking forward to a nice win, and then we crack on with Fulham next week. Yeah,
man. Mark?
Yeah, same. Looking forward for a good win. And personally, not doing much. There's a project that I'm trying to reach for next year, which is something that it was a hobby for me. I was an amateur on boxing. And
yes.
I'm preparing myself for maybe next year have a small exhibition in a club. So I'm actually, my plans for today is to train a lot.
Man.
Trying to get there.
Cool.
Brilliant. I have seen a couple of your videos of you boxing, man. It looks pretty intense, man. You're in good shape, so hopefully continue on and get yourself into that, achieve that goal. So guys, thank you heaps. Hope you all have enjoyed this preview. Hope Chelsea go out there and smash them. To each and every one of you guys who've joined, commented, smash that like button, please. Helps out the channel a lot. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Straight after the game tomorrow, Jonathan will be back We'll have some more special guests for the review. So just like last time, so it'll be myself and Jonathan and maybe a couple other guys, or maybe just one more person. But yeah, it'll be fun, or not. I hope it will be fun post-game. But yeah, it wasn't so much fun against Man City. But yeah, guys, thank you heaps. Until next time, see ya.